Have you ever wanted to sail away?
When I'm sailing, I think of nothing that's happening on land. I'm just totally focused on being on the water.
The art of sailing, a journey of relaxation, reflection, and tranquility like no other. Come sail away as we join the members of the Victoria Sailing Co-op.
Yeah, it's the peacefulness. It's like as soon as the motor's off, you're just being powered by the wind. It's a peaceful journey. You're with nature. You know, I can finish work, be on the boat, be on the water 20 minutes after I'm done working and have, you know, a relaxing, peaceful evening.
You get to see areas which you never see before. It's kind of neat that way.
It's like visiting a new country. Then you go to these islands that don't have a ferry, because normally you can't get there.
I'm very...
I'm Uschi. And I guess we are the founders of the co-op, together with Doug Prescott.
Yeah, I grew up sailing, small boats back east on lakes. The co-op was the first time that I ever sailed keel boats on the ocean, so it's been a nice learning experience.
Co-op is starting its 11th year.
It's not for nothing that like the co-op works for people, because it's like a lot cheaper to join this than to own your own boat.
I was aware of the co-op then because I just walked around the arena and saw the signs for the co-op. I knew nothing about it. But during that intermediate course, there was a 5-day liveaboard with Blackfish Sailing. Gary, the instructor, mentioned co-op is a good option if you don't want to own a sailboat. So as soon as I finished that course, I joined the co-op in July of 2022.
Some years before the co-op came into being, I took a course of sailing dinghies. And I thought that was really quite fun. Except when the course was finished, there wasn't really a place to sail. They organized kind of Sunday sailings where you could go and sign up for, and they had a safety boat. Except when I signed up, sometimes it was full, and then the summer was over, and they only did it in the summer. So if you didn't have your own boat, I found it really difficult to go sailing.
It's very unpretentious. It's affordable. Like, it's not the yacht club. As a result, we have boats that are a little rough, and there's always something that needs fixing, and like people walking down the dock and looking at Phoebe are probably wondering why it doesn't just sink on the spot, because it looks rough around the edges.
The popularity of sailing went down after the 80s, so there are no 90s or 2000s boats to buy. Sailing has really gone to a more kind of upper class sport. It's not a middle class sport anymore, so all the boats being made now are 35 feet, 40 feet, they're $200,000.
According to a recent survey, many people wish they had easier access to sailing. Over 50% would consider joining a sailing co-op, while less than 30% were even aware of the co-op's existence.
There is studies to show that being in nature is a very healing experience. So people's parameters of heart rate, blood pressures, galvanic skin resistance all drop when people are in natural settings. Being on the water is incredibly helpful for many people. They tell me that. They come back from the day on the water and they just say, how they feel relaxed. And you know, any worries or thoughts is like gone because you're like looking at the horizon or you're catching a fish.
I thought it was stupid to own a boat by yourself, because it's sitting in the marina all the time then. Without not sailing for a while, and then I heard about the co-op and thought, well, that seems pretty obvious, right?
I took a sailing course probably, about a few years ago, and then it was just on those little lasers. And then after that, I didn't really follow up on it, but I've always loved the ocean, and I do other water sports, and somebody told me about the co-op, and that's how I heard about it.
The co-op's main goal is to make sailing as affordable and accessible as possible for everyone.
The membership is incredibly affordable. It's by far the cheapest way to be sailing. And a result of that is that our bank account is not that flush.
The co-op runs a very tight ship. With their limited budget, it could all sink in an instant.
We bought Penelope when we lost Felix. Felix was the original 30-foot boat with an inboard diesel engine similar to this, that when the co-op was founded, that was one of the two boats.
So Felix was one of our 30-foot sailboats, and one of the members ran it into a rock, and it pushed the keel up through the bottom of the boat, and that was a $30,000 repair for a $15,000 boat. So it ended up, insurance just wrote it off, gave us a check, and that's how we got Penelope.
At the very start of the year, the co-op discovered their boat, Penelope, had developed some quite concerning engine issues.
We're kind of in a problem where we have 40-year-old boats, they're approaching the end of their life, the maintenance is worth more than the value of the boat.
The options now to be discussed February 20th are the head gasket needs to be replaced. And we can do that ourselves basically, and it costs $200 to buy the head gasket. And we can do that ourselves. But the engine has a number of other problems if you just do that.
Unfortunately, for a boat with an inboard diesel engine, the engine's about $9,000, installation is $7,000.
But I think if you're going to keep Penelope as a cruising boat, you want to have a reliable engine in Penelope,
Right.
which means replacing the engine. I don't think just fixing the head gasket is enough.
Yeah, I mean, who would want to go out with a bunch of family or friends if you already know that the motor might quit?
Yeah.
I mean, that takes the fun and enjoyment out of it.
It's just a very small group of people that enjoy sailing. For that amount of money and yearly expenses, a lot of people would just rather have a power boat, get to where they're going quicker, know they'll get there. You know, it's a hard sell to go somewhere slowly. It's more about the journey than getting there.
I don't want to own my own boat. It's too expensive and too much work. The co-op is a perfect solution for me. The co-op I go 3 or 4 times a week with this boat or a rum runner. Especially through the week, it's not that busy, so I can get the boats whenever I want, basically. So that's what I do. I love sailing. That's why the co-op's a really, really great alternative for me. So.
On February 20th, a meeting was called to decide Penelope's fate.
Our boats get a lot of use, so I think, we have to invest money in keeping them maintained. So I think this is the right direction forward. With the amount of money we have, if we invest that money into Penelope, we get a better boat than if we just scrap it, start again, and try and find a different boat. Still, the majority of people think that, Penelope is a suitable boat. And I think if it had a reliable engine, then, people would feel more comfortable taking it out.
The co-op voted to buy a brand new engine, and so to save money, they were able to remove the old engine themselves with a bit of teamwork and creative rigging.
Well, we got what we came to do accomplished, and we didn't break anything, so I consider that successful. Saved a few bucks, which is always good, because co-op runs on a pretty tight budget. Didn't break anything, didn't get any oil anywhere. Main sheet and the main halyard, and then used that to lift the engine out, and swung it over, dropped in a cart, and hauled it away.
Another advantage of the co-op, which people don't realize, is the extent of skill and knowledge amongst the members of the co-op. So I'm not particularly mechanical, but we do a lot of our own maintenance in the co-op on our boats. So whether it be motor work, electrical work, sail repair, there's generally somebody in the co-op who knows how to do that sort of thing.
I think we have a lot of active people right now. We're doing good stuff.
We have a good crew of people who know what they're doing, and this head gasket we're doing now, they wanted $3,000, which, if we have to pay $3,000 for a repair, that really hurts our budget.
I think actually in a way that kind of this last thing with the engine going in Penelope, I think that the co-op has kind of changed gears a bit, and that the idea is now, rather than trying to find the ideal boat to buy the co-op, is to take Penelope and just over time just keep constantly upgrading it.
Both Penelope and Phoebe are beloved boats in the co-op, despite all of their flaws.
I think Phoebe is the trusted, simple workhorse of the co-op. sometimes belittled because it's the smallest boat. And sometimes people think that that's not a nice boat. On the other hand, I once showed a new member the boat. He said, "Oh, is that a sweet little boat? Oh, what a sweet little boat." I am very much personally attached to Phoebe, not only because that was our boat at some time. And yes, it made me feel rich. On the other hand, as soon as we signed the papers, I realized, there's a hole and this is flaking and that should be repaired.
Rum runner, this is Phoebe on channel 69, over.
Phoebe, this is Rum Runner.
Yeah, Rum runner, we're actually going to turn around and head back to the marina, so we'll be crossing your path in about a minute or two.
Over. Okay, and once your turn, we'll turn and follow you as well, over.
For me, it's definitely like the peacefulness of being on the water without the sound of a motor. We had one day when we were putting up our Jennifer, which is sort of like a spinnaker sail, and we were messing it up so the boat was just quiet for quite a while. We weren't moving, and we had a whole pod of porpoises come up around us and just like check us out, which would never happen on a boat if you had a motor running.
Presently, the co-op has 80 members signed up for the 2025 season.
It's a good social experience. There's like Joe and I would have never met without the sailing co-op.
Down Friday.
While there is always a new maintenance item popping up and sometimes even more serious issues can arise, the Victoria Sailing Co-op is a growing family who bands together to weather any storm.
I think financially we're in the best position we've ever been in. Prior to COVID, we were around 30, 40 members, and we were struggling every year to pay our bills. But then once things started opening up again after COVID, people were really looking for local outdoor activities they could do, and that's when the co-op took off. That's when we got the third boat, Rum Runner.
As of now, Penelope is still awaiting her new engine. She is expected to be in ship-shape sailing condition by late April 2025. So if you've ever thought about sailing away, just know that a boat is never far away.